Hey everyone, Adam with Droid Media here, and today we're going to be making our very own DIY Quacker clamps. Quacker clamps, or duckbill clamps, or platypus clamps, whatever you want to call these things, are named because of the little bill at the front of the device here. Now these things are used to hold reflectors, beadboard, foam core, things like that. And then they go ahead and attach directly to a grip head, and then you can adjust them around. Pretty simple, right? And you might be asking yourself, or saying to yourself, hey Adam, I've got a light stand, I've got a 5-in-1 reflector, and then I've got a cheap spring clamp from the hardware store. Why would I ever need one of these things? Well, Quacker clamps give you an entire new axis of adjustability with your reflectors. So if you've got a 5-in-1 reflector, or any kind of reflector even, attached to a light stand with a clamp, you can adjust it forwards, backwards, left, right, and then you can rotate it a little bit, but you have no ability to pivot it or adjust the tilt of it. That's where Quacker clamps come in. They give you a full 360-degree rotation functionality, and ultimately can make setting up reflectors way easier, saving you time on set, and then adding value to your productions because of that. Now these retail for $75 or $80, but we are going to be able to make these for less than $25 a clamp. So with all of that being said, let's jump right in. Materials you're going to need for this are a sheet metal clamp, and you can buy these online or at most big box home improvement stores. These come in 2 packs with this weirdo claw clamp thingy, but we don't need that, so just set it aside. The main piece we want is this vice grip with a small bill on the end, which is where we'll be doing all of our modifications. Then the other main thing we're going to need is sheet metal. I bought a 6-inch by 24-inch panel. The first thing you want to do is take your clamp and clamp it onto a scrap piece of wood that's about 1/2 inch wide. We want the jaws to be as parallel as we can get them, which you'll see in a moment. Mark each corner on one side here with a marker, just for reference. We don't need to mark both sides of the clamp because we're going to be drilling through all of this, which is one of the reasons we want our jaws to be parallel. Then using a drill bit, I used a 1/4 inch one, drill through the clamp, through the wood, and we want to drill through the other side of the clamp as well. Again, this is why we need our jaws to be parallel. Then repeat for the other side. Once you've drilled your 2 holes, unclamp the piece of wood and set all of that aside for right now. Now get your sheet metal out, and we want to cut 2 6-inch squares out of this. Measure 6 inches up on one side, mark the other side, go ahead and draw your line with a ruler or a square. Go ahead and cut that piece out. A hacksaw will work just fine here. And then measure, mark, and cut your second piece out as well. Now we should have 2 6-inch square pieces of metal. Now before we do anything else, you want to smooth out these edges and round out the corners because they're still a little sharp. I used a Dremel and a metal grinding bit to get rid of all of the sharp corners and the edges, and then I touched everything up with a metal file. Be sure to check the corners and edges as you're filing them down to make sure you've gotten everything smooth enough. You don't want anyone cutting themselves while you're out on set. Once your squares are smooth, grab your piece of wood, put the 2 pieces of sheet metal around it, and because we're adding in a little more width now, you'll probably need to expand the clamps a small amount. Then clamp the metal down with the wood inside. And it's really important at this part that everything is nice and square, so feel free to readjust everything and then clamp it back down if you need to. Then using the holes we already drilled in the clamp, we want to drill through the sheet metal. This time, make sure you only drill through each side. We do not want to drill all the way through this time. Once all the holes are drilled, we need to bend this sheet metal. So we're bending each piece the right way. Make a little mark on each side so you know which side goes where and which ones are the outside edges. Then, unclamp everything and set the clamp aside for now. Take one of your pieces of sheet metal, and we want to mark a line 2 inches up from the bottom, which is where we'll bend the metal. Now go ahead and do this for each piece. Then, using another scrap piece of wood, line up the straight edge with the line we just drew and clamp it all together. I just used spring clamps for this. We'll use this as a bit of a guideline or a template to help us with the bend. Clamp that piece into a vise or down onto your workbench, and I used another scrap piece of wood here to help keep things square and tight inside of my vise. And to bend this, you simply need to apply a bit of pressure. You don't want to overbend here, so go slow and be careful. Simply repeat for the other side. Now that all of our pieces are completed, we want to put this together. I bought 4 nylock or nylon lock nuts and 4 small 1/2-inch bolts to hold this together. Grab your clamp and one of the squares of sheet metal and put one of the bolts through the hole on the outside, and then screw your nylock nut on the inside. Do the same for the other hole, and using a screwdriver and a wrench, tighten everything down. Repeat these steps with the other side. Once it's clamped together, use your wrench and make sure everything is really nice and tight. To get rid of the marks we made on the sheet metal, just use a small bit of mineral spirits, paint thinner, or nail polish remover and wipe them clean. And now you should be done. To use your clamp, grab your favorite reflector or foam board, clamp it down, and attach it to a grip head. These clamps will work fine as is, but for full functionality, you might want to consider having a 5/8" adapter welded to one side. You can also just use the adjustment end as a proto 5/8" adapter and put it into your grip head that way, like I do. Quacker clamps are a great addition to your kit, and even if you don't use them on every single shoot, they can really help save you time and add value to your productions. Now, if you've got any comments, questions, or funny names for these weird looking clamps, leave those in the comments section below. If you liked what you saw, click like and subscribe. Thank you for sticking around through this tutorial, and I will see you next time. Emmy hates these, apparently.